In my mind, Eros is 180 degrees different from most of what we know and are taught. We are taught, in a sense, to continue to inhale, continue to achieve, continue to do, and we aren't trained to exhale and let go and see what happens in that place. And so there is another world, and it's a beautiful world that most people can sense. We all can sense. I've been teaching I've been arting, who knows what I've been doing for a long enough period to know that when I get with people, even scientists who say they've never had a spiritual experience before, once we get into it, I'll say something to the effect of, have you ever had an experience where time stopped and it felt like there wasn't a you, and it felt like you were connected to things beyond your normal conception of connection, and it felt like there was something eternal and timeless that knew, just even for a second. And my experience is that everyone has had that experience. I've never met anybody who hasn't, even the most cynical, cold-hearted, I'm not buying this crap kind of person has had to admit they've had one moment of that experience. And to me, that is a moment that I built my entire life on. When I tasted that, when I had one taste of that, it was clear to me that that was far more compelling than the best of everything else. And so I wanted to know how it worked. And it was like I had fallen into an entirely different world or culture, or it did not respond to my injunctions, we'll say. I was very, give me another one of those moments and do it now and make me successful for doing it. And there was a whole set of things and that I had learned primarily in academia and in spirituality that just didn't work. It just didn't work, and I couldn't understand why. And my experience is that I really, falling into this world, I spent a lot of time initially trying to prove myself, which works in the everyday world, but in the world of Eros, it's a little bit repulsive, because Eros already believes you're perfect. Why would you ever prove yourself? So then proving yourself would be a barrier that you're putting in between you and Eros, and I think it hurts Eros's feelings. When I'm there and it's already perceiving me as perfect and there's just connection to be had and experience to be had, why would I be efforting to prove myself in the face of it? So I had to learn to stop proving myself because it was so habitual. And so we've landed in another world, and or in another state of consciousness, whatever you want to call it. And the rules are drastically different. The only thing I will settle for is you. Just you there with an open heart. And then suddenly, when I do that, it opens beyond what I ever could have imagined. But I have a lot of habits of doing things other than that. And so the training of Eros is an untraining. It's not an actual training. It's pointing, I think you got a little far from home. This is how you get back home. And once you get back home, all there is to do is create more. So I'm one who could always sense home, but couldn't always find my way back. And there would be little moments where I would get glimpses. I would go into a synagogue, and for a moment it felt like it would break through reality, or there would be a moment of connection, or in nature, all of a sudden it would twinkle through in some way, and I would be stopped in my tracks, and there would be this presence, or roller skating. I love roller skating, or riding my bike. There would just be this moment, And it would actually feel like I was riding with the rhythm of life, and doing that somehow opened up an experience. And I determined that was where I wanted to live. And then I needed to learn the guidelines for how to be a good citizen there. The beauty of Eros is we're told to be humble in most traditions. And so what I've seen and what I've done is I have I've attempted to perform humility. And it's just exhausting. And what Eros does is it works me out in such a way that it shows me how sublime the sensation of humility is. Humility just being my right size. And for many of us, especially women, although you guys too, in various ways, so I don't want this to be a feminist moment. Humility also mandates that I be fully who I am. It doesn't demand that I be small by any stretch of the imagination. That's not humility. That's actually the antithesis of humility. That's a form of arrogance. It's not humility to have been given gifts that I don't realize and that I don't express and that I pretend I don't think are incredible. I can't believe I've been given some of these things. And so it's not just willingness, but it's a duty. It is a duty for me to love and express and be those things, and to be as big and full and expressed as I actually am. And then just to realize that it's not because of me that I get to be that. That to me is the form of humility that I'm interested in living.